Madame May and I have a joint declaration that is circulating now. Let me just sum up very, very rapidly the main point. The main point is that the planet is not going well. The main point is that we are in an exceptional circumstance. And when you are facing an exceptional circumstance, you look for exceptional gestures, exceptional solutions. And what Elizabeth and I are announcing today, it's certainly exceptional. In partisan politics, usually you don't cooperate at all. We will offer to Canadians a gesture of cooperation in order to be sure that Canada will put together all its assets as a great nation to be part of the solutions about the crisis of climate change and sustainability.
I have confidence in Stéphane Dion. I have worked with him. This is not a large-scale merger of parties. This is an extraordinary expression of putting progress, of putting principle ahead of politics as usual. And I want to send a signal as an individual who's worked with Monsieur Dion. First, I have to tell you, there's no deal. There wasn't backroom discussions. I need to share with you that Monsieur Dion and I talked to each other over the phone half a dozen times. We wrote this statement ourselves. We didn't have minions in dark rooms with lots of smoke going on figuring this out. We just talked to each other. We like each other. We respect each other. I'm asking all of you in Central Nova and all of us across Canada to find ways to put away, just for a time, perhaps forever, the partisanship that exceeds sense. Be strong Liberals, be strong Greens, be strong NDPers, whatever your stripe. But remember, the planet is at stake. This is the time to put aside petty differences and work together.
Now, you make it a condition of your participation in a leaders' debate that Ms. May participate in that debate as well. Will you say you will not participate unless she participates? How will that work?
No. We are two different parties, two different leaders, and I think she deserves to be at the debate of the leaders, the leadership debate on TV in both official languages, since she speaks good French. So no, my view did not change a iota about that.
When I decided to run for leader of the Green Party of Canada, I thought that I must always be careful that somehow, through the tricky morass of first past the post, I must somehow ensure that I do nothing that helps elect Stephen Harper's government again. I did not, in other words, want to be known as Canada's Ralph Nader. And I think if you could switch the frame for just a minute here and imagine that this was Ralph Nader and Al Gore, and it had managed to avoid George Bush being in the White House, what a different and better world we would now have.
I will fight for 307 Liberals plus Elizabeth May.
For many, many months, I've been attempting to reach out to Jack Layton as I attempted to reach out to Monsieur Dion. The door remains open to the NDP, despite, well, I won't give you the catalogue of efforts I've made to have even a phone conversation with Jack Layton. It behooves Jack Layton to think about getting beyond the kind of traditional ancestral tribal hatreds that are part of partisan politics towards other parties, and think about whether we couldn't work together. I respect Jack Layton enormously. He's done a lot in his own life, particularly at municipal level, on environmental issues. I hope that he will enter into some conversation. I couldn't agree more with Stéphane. This country is at a crossroads in the next election. We cannot afford to make mistakes. We have to be sober, we have to be grown up, we have to be responsible. And we cannot afford to take the chance of putting this country on a path to seeing it disintegrate.
We send a message to Canadians. I'm committed to work hard to be sure that the Liberal Party will be the next majority government.
Yeah, Mr. Layton, do you think that this is a strategy, the Green Liberal Alliance, as it were, to squeeze out the NDP, in effect?
You know, the citizens are going to be denied choices. The NDP doesn't believe that the citizens should be denied choices. I believe that everybody in Canada should be able to make the choice that they decide to make about who represents them in Parliament, not some backroom deal by leaders. You know, I guess you kind of expected this from Mr. Dion and the Liberals. It's been the stock and trade of Liberals, backroom wheeling and dealing for years. But I have to say it's disappointing and somewhat surprising that Ms. May, who professes to be someone who stands on principle, would have so quickly slipped into the muck of backroom wheeling and dealing, denying people choices in an election. We're going to make sure that we offer a choice to vote for a New Democrat candidate in every riding, because we think that's Canadians' right. Why should people in some ridings be denied the choice that other Canadians have in other ridings? You don't predetermine these things through backroom wheeling and dealing. That's what Canadians don't like about politics. They've become cynical about politicians trying to work out decisions on their behalf. We're a social democratic party. We're called the New Democratic Party for a reason. We believe that the fundamental principles of democracy are sacrosanct, and that the first principle is that people should have choices in elections. They shouldn't be denied choices. And where is this going to end? It'll be up to these other parties to explain that one.
Today's announcement that the Liberal Party will not field a candidate against Elizabeth May in Central Nova, and that the Green Party will not field a candidate against Stéphane Dion in St. Laurent-Cartierville, is further proof that Mr. Dion is not a leader. I find it incredible that the Liberal Party, an institution that has long prided itself as a pan-Canadian party that runs candidates in all ridings, would need to lean on a minor party to bolster its credibility in the next election, an action that speaks volumes about Mr. Dion's own assessment of the strength of his party and his lack of leadership. And it's equally unbelievable that Mr. Dion believes that he needs the Green Party's help to win his own riding in Montreal. But this is the new Liberal Party of Stéphane Dion, a party that flip-flops on major issues like Afghanistan, reverses itself on its own anti-terrorism legislation, and could not even acknowledge the existence of a fiscal imbalance in Canada. Mr. Dion may not be a leader. Stéphane Dion n'est pas un chef, but he has made a choice. And in endorsing the Green Party's program, he will have to explain his choice to Canadians. Does he question NAFTA as the Green Party does? Does he question Canada's commitment to NATO and NORAD as the Green Party does? And how does he feel about the views of radical Green Party candidates, such as the Green candidate in Vancouver Kingsway, who incredibly described the 9/11 terrorist attacks as beautiful? This decision reflects a terrible error in judgment on Stéphane Dion's part, but it's part of a pattern. And it further demonstrates that Stéphane Dion is not a leader. If Stéphane Dion's leadership is too weak for Central Nova, then why should it be acceptable for any Canadian?
You're saying that it shows that Mr. Dion is not a leader. What's to say about Ms. May?
Well, it doesn't exactly speak well for them. I'm a little shocked. I would think that people who are excited about a new political party would want to start out in a better way instead of cutting a backroom deal in the hope that they can use that to get their leader into Parliament. I was part of a new party at one time. One of the most exciting aspects of our new party was the idea that we had this great grassroots movement that would go and bring about some great reforms, and they've started in a very, I think, questionable way as their first major initiative going into an election.